God gave us a lifetime warranty that if you do these things, I promise you that when life begins to break down, you'll be able to call me in on that warranty. I will repair or replace whatever was broken,
Mhm.
just like another warranty. But how many of us can attest, and me included, this is how God gave it to me. How many of us can attest to the fact that you bought an item, a big item? I never registered my washing machine with Whirlpool. But then when it breaks down, now I'm mad because now I need a repair person. But if I had registered the warranty, it would have
Right.
been covered. Same thing in life. Same thing. And so that's a gift that God gave me, and I use everyday practical things like that. The car analogy that
I
I gave you
always use
to
the
tie
car
it
with fitness. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
to you, I tie that to scripture and to make it plain for people.
Mhm. Greetings and welcome to the Elevated Flo Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Flo, aka the Black Rowing Queen. The Elevated Flo Podcast spotlights elite and everyday female athletes over 40 sharing how they elevate their game and their flow in sports, wellness, and life. These are powerful stories of strength, resilience, wisdom, and inspiration to help women stay active, age strong, and pass the torch to the next generation. Today, I have a very special guest with me. Please help me welcome Ms. D. Monique Brown. Hello, Ms. Brown. How are you today?
I'm well, Flo. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for agreeing to be on the podcast. Okay, so I'm going to give you a formal introduction. Ms. D. Monique Brown is a native of Norfolk, Virginia. At age 10, Monique moved with her parents and sister to Dallas, Texas. In high school, Monique played volleyball and basketball and ran track. She was commissioned as an officer in the Navy in 2000. Upon graduating from Indiana University School of Law, Indianapolis, in 2000, Monique began her first active duty judge advocate assignment. Upon her release from active duty in 2007, Monique immediately affiliated with the Navy Reserves. As a Navy officer, Monique has served in various capacities, including Defense Counsel, commanding officer, and military trial judge. Currently, she is the highest ranking Black female in the U.S. Navy JAG Corps. In her civilian capacity, she has been an administrative judge for the U.S. Department of Agriculture for more than 16 years. In 2024, Monique launched a 365-day devotional book using her personal life experience to assist others in overcoming life's challenges through application of Christian principles. Throughout Monique's life, fitness has been an integral part of her lifestyle. At age 50, she continues to live an active lifestyle with weekly dance classes and events and roller skating, and she exercises 6 days per week. You may also see her playing co-ed volleyball or double dutching. In 2024, Monique and her two chosen sisters opened an Alloy personal training franchise in North Mansfield, Texas, to help others, especially those over 40, live healthier, fit lives. Welcome to the Elevated Flo Podcast.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to jump right into it. So you have an amazing career from the Navy JAG officer to administrative judge and to franchise owner. How would you describe the mission that drives you across all of these roles?
I think that simply put, I'm a motivator. I love pouring into other people. I love inspiring other people to do better, to be better. Even as a Navy judge advocate, I guess made a name for myself within the JAG Corps by being willing to speak up for other people and advocate for every other people. My name Monique means advocate, so I guess it was divine for me to be an advocate. My father used to tell me as a kid, "You always defending somebody." So I didn't know that he was planting a seed, but he obviously was. And so, as you talked about all three aspects, from being a judge advocate, administrative judge, even being a military in one of my probably the pinnacle of my career, being a military judge, each opportunity to have the opportunity to mentor. That's a passion. It's my calling. It really is my calling to mentor. I didn't say it when I provided to you before, but even within our illustrious sorority, I've always been a part of our gyms, which is our mentoring.
Mm.
I co-lead for the last, I think, 10 years, a mentoring program through my church. So it's what I do. And then with my gym, it's not, I mean, we have professional trainers, but when I go to train, I'm more, again, of a pusher. I'm a motivator. I get people to just want to do that extra rep or to do that extra 5 pounds or at least try. So that would, I think, sum up that I enjoy motivating other people.
Now, being that you are in the military and you're a personal trainer, and you said you try to push people to do that extra 5 reps or lift that heavier weight, are you one of those yelling trainers? Because people just always assume with me, because this look on my face, they think I'm mean. They're like, oh, you're probably really hard. And I'm like, I'm so the opposite. So are you one of those trainers where you just like yelling at them? Okay.
No, in fact, the funnest part is, and I think especially at our gym, when I do show up and I hop in, the clients never expect it. But I get in there with them. So
Hmm.
I'm like, that's how come on, I'm gonna get down here and I'm gonna go ahead and do this extra. I'm gonna do
Okay.
this last set with you. Come on,
Okay.
if you see me doing 50 and you're at 20, you're gonna go ahead and try the 30.
Okay. I love that.
But I push people within their capabilities, not mine.
Absolutely. Right. Right.
So I'm not gonna tell you if I'm seeing you at 20, I'm not gonna tell you to come do this 60.
Mm-hmm.
I am gonna tell, but if I ask you to go up to 30, I'm gonna go up to 70.
Mm.
So I'm not gonna let you do it by yourself. If I'm
Okay.
asking you to push, I'm gonna push with you.
Okay. That's awesome.
And it's my leadership style also, right?
Mm-hmm.
I even as a commanding officer, I never ask my subordinates to do anything I wouldn't do. So that's just my style. And so I'm not a yeller. I'm not a yeller when I'm training or when I'm coaching people. I'm not.
Okay.
Get me in an athletic event, that's a different story. I am especially on the volleyball court.
Mm.
I don't like recreational volleyball. I only like I only like
Okay.
competing, not recreation. I don't like that because I know how aggressive I can be.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll share with you a funny story. So I just returned recently from another deployment last year, and there was a volleyball tournament, and I had a team. So because of my seniority, I have to be very careful in all seriousness because of my seniority, I have to make sure that even though we're having an out of office, off work team building, basically, we're in this league, we're in a volleyball league,
Mm-hmm.
right? I know how I'm aggressive. And so the reason why I don't like recreational volleyball is because I know it's the pity pat, just tap it back and forth. And I don't want to do that, right? And so after like the first game, there was a lot of that going on with my team. And so I had to have a conversation with our little team afterwards. And I said, I need for you all to just understand. Don't take offense to Captain Brown yelling at you. It's just a function of we're in the game, and so I'm very competitive when it comes to playing volleyball. Well, playing pretty much anything, but
Okay.
definitely volleyball. I'm definitely a yeller in that regard.
Mm. Okay. So take us back then. Take us back. What age were you when you remember when you first started playing a sport? If you're listening right now and you're thinking, Coach Flo, I know I need to get moving, but I don't know where to start. Or you've been moving, but you feel stuck. Maybe you hit a plateau. This message is for you. I created a 21-day Get Active, Stay Active challenge just for women like you. It's simple, it doesn't take much time, and it's doable even if you can only work out at home. This challenge is designed not only to help you build strength and momentum, it's designed to build confidence and consistency without feeling overwhelmed. Every day, you'll get clear guidance and small, powerful steps that add up to big results. By the end of the 21 days, you'll not only feel stronger, you'll know exactly how to keep going. So if you're ready to take that step, join me. Click the link in the description to join the challenge. Your future self will thank you for it. Now let's get back to the episode.
I was in the 10th grade. So
Mm.
my yeah, so my father is really truly his side of the family is where I get my my athleticism. He didn't ever play beyond any high school, but I mean, he's the oldest of five boys,
Mm.
and then he has two sisters. So he's always, though, all my life, he's always been good at basketball,
Okay.
right? And then his two youngest brothers were 6'5", 6'6". They played collegiate basketball. So I had that athleticism, but my father was a very strict disciplinarian, only cared about education, didn't care about sports. And moving here, even though I was 10, the first years don't count. And then I went to Oliver Wendell Holmes, which was like a magnet junior high school. So they
Mhm.
didn't have the traditional sports. We had
Oh,
gymnastics. I
okay.
participated in things like that. And so, and then I went to a magnet high school,
Mm.
and so I was on the magnet side of Skyline. And so, and being the oldest, I'm the oldest child. I was in a new, I still was in a new environment. My parents weren't into it. They worked a lot. Sports just wasn't important to them. From a
Mm.
participation, school
Okay.
and education was important. And to be honest with you, Flo, I don't even remember how I came to try out from volleyball. So I have an aunt and my father. They used to play volleyball, and so when I saw them growing up before I moved here, and so I think that was my initial draw to liking volleyball.
Okay.
And literally, I went out for tryouts in volleyball, made the team, and I just fell in love with volleyball. And that's how it started. I am a huge basketball fan. My skill level is volleyball. My skill level is not in basketball, but I needed something to do in the Dallas. So in Dallas school district, when you are a student athlete, one of your class periods is athletics,
Right.
right? And
Right.
so when volleyball season ended, you had to do something to finish
Mhm.
out fall semester before track. And I wasn't doing cross country.
Mm.
And my athleticism allowed me to be really, really good at defense in basketball. Now, I
Okay.
played very good defense in basketball, but offensively, I wasn't. And I probably could have been, but unlike my daughter, my parents never invested. And it's way, way different now than it was then, of course.
Mhm.
But like camps and all that, I never went to a volleyball camp until I went to college and played volleyball. That was my first camp.
Mm.
I'd
Okay.
only been exposed to high school sports. So unlike my daughter who's been playing basketball since she was 7 outside of basketball, I didn't have that experience. And so
Okay.
from volleyball was just for whatever reason, it was a natural skill for me.
Okay. So you said you played volleyball, and
Mhm.
then after volleyball ended in the fall, you played basketball, and then
Basketball,
in the spring you ran track?
which I used to enjoy running. I no longer enjoy running, but I used to enjoy used to be good at it. I used to be good at it. I started out running the 200,
Okay, that was my
and
event.
yeah, I started out running 200. I ended up being really good at the 800, and it was funny how that happened. My high school track coach, just put me in the 800 just as a filler. There was an open spot on the roster, put me in. I came in like third place, and so from there on, I had to run. I had to run the 800. And
Wow.
so as it ended up happening, my teammate ended up being first in district, and I was second. So
Mm.
um, yeah, when it came time, by my senior year, I needed to pick whether to go to college for volleyball or track, and I chose volleyball.
Okay. Okay. So what were you recruited to college with volleyball?
Technically, yes. I mean, schools came down. Our high school was the high school in the district, which I just want to be clear, that wasn't saying much because we never made it past district. Well, I'm just
Okay.
saying
Okay.
because the way that, and it still is this, it's still like this from a sports standpoint, the Dallas area for women's sports,
Mm.
knock it out the park in basketball. But for volleyball, our non-melanated sisters from the more country parts, they are far more developed in club ball and those things. So we would always run up against that when we made it to the playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you play volleyball in the military. Can
Yes. Yes.
You said it's competitive. How does that work? Do you guys play against other? military troops, or how does that work?
Yeah. So it's funny because on my first deployment back in 2017, it was in Africa. Very, very, very hot, 135 degrees. So yes,
Okay.
135 degrees. Okay, so I said that to say, so we did indoor volleyball every Monday, co-ed, which was I was in heaven at that point. I mean, if I was going to be in 135-degree weather, the trade-off, God definitely was that He allowed me to play volleyball
Okay.
every Monday. Oftentimes, I'd be the only female, be only one or two of
Mm,
us in there playing with the guys, and so it was phenomenal. So that was in most deployed locations, there are what we call third country nationals. So
mm,
people from other countries who work in what we consider the civilian capacity, from any number of things, from cleaners to things at the exchange where we buy our food,
mhm.
everything, maintenance, they're all civilians from other countries.
Okay.
Okay. And then you do have most deployment, you know, especially on land, is cross military. So it's people from
Mm,
all branches. In your free time, yes, creationally, you go and be on a team. And then in addition, and that deployment, we also had an outdoor beach volleyball tournament because
mm.
there's plenty of sand where there's 135 degrees.
Oh, so
so so I was I that was fun. So I participated in that. And again, now that the tournament was I was trying to think. No, it was a mixture of military and third country nationals as well.
okay.
On this last tournament, it was mostly I'm trying to think. I think it was if it was not all, it was vast majority because it's not a lot of civilians over there, but it was no, there were some. So I had to think about it. I had to think about it for a minute. So there it was very similar. There were a mix of, but it was still mostly military
Mhm.
from whatever branch you were, that you put teams together to be because this was a whole volleyball league. So this took place over several weeks.
Okay.
And so we competed just basically for bragging rights. But then the pinnacle was so as kind of a morale for part of our morale and welfare, there is a volleyball tour, if you will, professional volleyball players that tour the world to come on deployed sites. And I was so blessed and fortunate to actually play volleyball with professional volleyball players on this last
Oh,
deployment. And
okay.
that was so beautiful. Oh my God, that was so sweet.
Okay. You're like, "Oh, I got skills, huh?"
Yeah, you can tell. So there was myself and another friend of mine. We both had played college ball, and she was good too. And so she's in and out from where I was deployed. And I was like, "Hey, they play tonight." And so we just showed up. The idea is that all these other teams, you get your team together and play against the pros, but we didn't have a
Mm,
team. And so we just slid over and was like, "Hey, can we play? Can we play with you guys?" They were like, "Yeah." No, they're just being kind and gentle, but then we got out there with them and they saw we could really play. They were like, "Oh,
okay.
okay." Yeah, so that was definitely a major, major highlight for me.
Okay. Okay.
Super cool.
So why the military? So there is professional volleyball. You just talked about that. What made you go from college to join the military?
So a very interesting story. So for people who do understand or know things about the military, as you expressed in my bio introduction, that I'm from Norfolk, Virginia. So Norfolk, Virginia, is the largest houses the largest naval base in the world.
Mm,
So those who when they hear that, they may say, "Oh, she grew up in a military family or military town." Not at all. My family is just from Norfolk. Both
okay.
sides of my family both sides of my family. I say that to answer your question because I never grew up wanting to be in the military. There was not some family legacy I was trying to live out. Never even crossed my mind.
Hmm.
What happened was when I was in law school, before going, I had this idea of what I wanted to do in law. I don't think I've done any of that, but I had this idea of what I thought I wanted to do in law. And so in my third year, what is typical for law schools is every year they have employers that come on campus in order to do on campus interviews.
Mhm.
And so at the time for me, I was interning for a remarkable, fabulous never forget her federal magistrate judge. And I was interviewing, and she had said to me, Monique, you let me know what you want to do, and it's done. Right. So I was interviewing with firms, and Flo, I just literally one day I said, God, this ain't what I want to
Mm.
want to. I don't want to work on a firm. Just wasn't my it wasn't I wasn't feeling it.
Mhm.
I was not feeling it. And so in looking at the on-campus interviews, I saw Air Force. I was like, Air Force. So I had no knowledge, I had no experience, I had no access, no nothing of a JAG. Never even heard, didn't know what a JAG was, nothing.
Before you
Um,
move on, can you explain that to the listeners? What
okay.
the JAG
A
is?
So Judge Advocate General, every branch has a military branch has a Judge Advocate General Corps, and basically they're military lawyers. That's the simplistic. So thank you for stopping me to explain it. So I had never see, like I had never heard of it. And so I didn't know what it was, but I signed up to find out what do you mean Air Force? At that point I still didn't know we were talking about active duty.
Okay.
But I went that was my first introduction to knowing what the JAG Corps was. Okay.
Okay.
So from that moment in the third year of law school, so this is the first semester of my third year. I'm looking now, I'm doing my own research because now I'm intrigued by what he said. Some of the things that natural to me that I enjoy, which was part of the reason why the law firm kind of track wasn't appealing to me. I enjoy teaching.
Mm.
I guess that explains why I love coaching in the gym as well. I love teaching. I love helping people. So I wanted to have clients. I wanted to have one-on-one interaction with clients, and I love litigating.
Mm.
And so I love to be in the courtroom, and I'm very good at it. So typically in law, there's a very, very, very broad range of things that you can do as an attorney or just someone who has a Juris Doctorate degree. Now,
Right.
what people may not understand or know is that's not the same thing. You can go to law school, and plenty of people do it just to get the Juris Doctorate.
Right.
But to become an attorney, you have to pass a bar, right? And so there's a plethora of things and occupations you can do with either way, but typically you get in a lane and you stay in it. So either you're a litigator or you're not. Either you're a transactional attorney, tax attorney, health law, whatever that is, you get in that lane and that's typically where you stay. There's not a lot of crossover. And
Okay.
so in listening to this judge advocate explain to me that you really have the opportunity because it is military, you change jobs every 2 to 3 years in the military. I don't care what you're doing, to do all of the things that I wanted to do. So that intrigued me and I
Mm.
began to do my own research. So fast forward to January of 2000, January of 2000, I was continuing my research. I was on campus at the law school in Indianapolis, and I went to the career services office had been they had a dedicated like file drawer with JAG Corps information for all the branches, just general information. And I'd gone up there this particular day to find out about. I say, hey, Karen, I'm doing the research. Where'd you guys? They were remodeling at the time. I said, hey, where'd you guys move the file cabinet? And she said, it's over there. She said, but the Navy JAG Corps is downstairs right now. I said, oh, okay. So me and my personality, I go down there. So the typical back then recruiting format was they would send a judge advocate and a recruiter. A recruiter is just probably an enlisted person who is attached to a recruiting office. And
Right.
so they're not a JAG or anything. They'll recruit anybody for any job, right? So those two people are there. They finish their spiel. There's probably 1 or 2 people in the room. I come in, I'm like, hey, I didn't know you guys were here. I need you to start over. So they give me their spiel. So at the end, Miss Know It All, I'm like, well, I've done my research and a JAG is a JAG is a JAG. So, the pay is going to be the same. Everybody's going to come in at the same rank. You have the same kind of, it looks like from my research, I know this is not true now, but from my research, it looked like you have the same opportunities to do the same work regardless of what service. So why should I pick the Navy? And the recruiter responded. And he said, I'll give you 3 reasons.
Mm.
He said, location, location, location. You can you can go in the Air Force and be stationed in the middle of nowhere, 10 buck nowhere, or you can come to the Navy and have a 95% chance of being stationed on the beach. I was like, that makes sense to me. So in February, I signed up. I filled
Wow.
out the paperwork to be commissioned in the Navy, and that's how I ended up in the Navy.
Interesting.
The interesting part about it, though, even at that point, again, based on my research, now I have this plan, right? My research says that there's all this experience that I'll get. And that was what was so intriguing. There wasn't this waiting period that there typically is if you're if you're in a firm track,
Mhm.
6 to 7 years. You're For me, being a gopher, that's what I called it. I don't mean disrespect to anybody who's in that track, but I didn't want to be behind some partner researching, drafting briefs, doing and you are the one in the courtroom litigating. I just didn't want that. So the JAG Corps was going to present this opportunity to do it. So my idea was I'll come in for 3 years. I'll get all this experience. I'm gonna get right in the courtroom, right? I'm gonna get all this experience. Comparatively, at the end of 3 years, I'm gonna be light years ahead of my counterpart on the
Mhm.
civilian side, right? Who came out in the same years as me. So I'm gonna take that experience. I'm gonna go be in-house counsel to American or Delta Airlines so that I can fly for free. That was my plan. But with so 25 years later, I'm still in the Navy,
Wow.
and I would never go be in-house counsel for an airline
Okay.
because I learned one of the things I learned in the military is that I don't want to be in-house counsel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how it happened.
So with all of this service that you've been doing, being in the Navy, what would you say keeps you consistent and grounded when it comes to maintaining an active lifestyle?
So, environment for one, right? Coming from when I started as a student athlete in high school, you again, in Texas is just something different. I've learned this as I've traveled. I've learned it as I've seen other people move here. Sports in Texas is just on another level, right? So, the amount of energy and money that they pour into student athletics is kind of crazy compared. If you hear other people, I've had people move here from other states and cannot believe like the football stadiums that we have for the
Mm.
high schools. Like they're like, our colleges don't have high school stadiums like that,
Right.
right? My daughter, I'll give you a great example. When my daughter went to college her freshman year, I'm not going to say the school name because I don't, but her high school had more equipment than her college basketball school, her, her freshman and sophomore year.
Her high
Okay.
school here in Texas.
Her high school here in Texas
Got
had
it.
more courts and basketball equipment for the girls' basketball team
Mm.
than her college team had.
Okay.
I say that to say that that's what I came up in from a student athlete high school standpoint. Right? So,
Okay.
and then at home, my parents worked out at home. My mom was they got in the they and I still have this spirit now. They did Tybo at home back in the day,
Mm.
right? I grew up seeing that my parents couldn't afford gym memberships, but they would work out at home.
Mhm.
Okay. So that's the one piece. And then one of the reasons why I have excelled in the military is because my personality fits what I kind of was an expectation. It fits
Mm.
like you have to take a fitness test in military. It has transitioned now to we're only once a year, but twice a year, and you're required to work out so many days. So, in fact, I mean, that's a part of your regimen is 2 or 3 days a week that your work day, you're at the gym. Or we have
Mm.
command, we have what's called command PT, where the command meets at 6 o'clock in the morning to work out. When I went to officer school, again, I told you I used to like to run.
Right.
We did pain before breakfast, which was we met with the Marines at 5 o'clock in the morning, went on a 5 mile run. Those type of things. And me just I don't know, it's just something ingrained in my mind where physical activity just gets my adrenaline going. So I
Okay.
love it from that perspective. And then we're graded in the military. Like that's one of
Mm.
on our what we call our fitness reports, which for the civilian equivalent would be like a performance appraisal. Our fitness reports, one of the fields for the Navy officer is your military bearing, which includes how you did on your fitness. And your
Mm.
fitness score, or whether you passed or not, is one of the factors literally on your fitness report. Did you pass or fail both fitness periods for this cycle?
Mhm.
It is part of your promotion, whether or not,
Okay.
because you know that you can't. if you're not maintaining the fitness standards. So
Wow.
you have to maintain a certain weight and a certain height. You can't, well, it doesn't look like it today. Let me just say that. But back
I'm like,
then,
really?
yeah.
Okay.
But back then, you actually looked like you were in the military. They had standards that said you can't, this height, this weight. If you're not, then you got to be on remedial. So we had that piece. As I have gotten older, it's just a mindset of wanting to remain fit.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I'm tired, I got up this morning. I was like, as tired as I was, it's just something in my mind that I don't feel right if I don't get something in.
Mm.
I
Mm.
just I don't feel right. Being in the military and required in my mind I've never. So we have different levels to determine whether you basically passed, you did excellent, or you did outstanding. So for example, a female officer right now, I don't even look anymore because I know, and I'm not bragging, but I've been in long enough to know that I'm definitely going to hit outstanding on our core and our push-ups, right?
Okay.
But I've never been the one, and there are those, I don't say it critically, it's just not how my mind is built. I never have been one to just stop at what was enough to pass. I've
Okay.
always tried to get the highest number.
Okay.
It's just how my mind is
Mm-hmm.
built. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And I'm not competing against anybody but myself.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah. So what does your wellness routine look like as far as your mindset? Because you've been talking a lot and saying a lot about how you are. That's how your mind is. What does that look like as an athlete, as a 50-year-old now, as far as your wellness and working out and eating and all of your overall wellness? How does that look and your mindset? How has it changed, I should say, over time with, yeah.
It is definitely it has changed because as as you age, your body just it does different things. I literally was having this conversation with my cousin because today is her birthday. So this morning, and I was telling her that I am having to find I am in trial and error right now to find that spot for me because my body doesn't respond the way that it used to. And I'll give you a very specific. People look at me and they like, no way. Sugar and bread. Love it. I love candy. I love sweets. And I think you should have bread with every meal. Now, that's because both of my grandmothers, I told you, I'm the oldest. I'm not just the oldest of my parents. I'm the oldest grandchild on my father's side, and I'm the oldest granddaughter on my mother's side. So
Okay.
I had both of my grandmothers, and especially my maternal grandmother. Like that's she's 99 years old. She
Oh, wow.
lives with me. What a blessing, right? But that
Absolutely.
even right now, the woman has dementia, but she still wants dessert after every meal, including breakfast, and she still want a piece of bread with everything she eats. But that's what I came up with. Both of my grandma,
Okay.
both of that. So when I was younger, because I have always worked out, right? If I needed to lose 10 pounds, I just would stop eating candy, or I'd go I could tell you to a T, around May or June, I'd just give up candy. I'd give up sweets for 2 months. I'd drop 10 to 12 pounds easy. That doesn't work for me anymore.
You're like, "What happened?
I have
What happened?"
I I cut myself off. This is a true story. I ate for 2025. Let me tell you how bad it is. So one of my chosen sisters that we own the alloy together with, I met her on deployment, and the one that I was, and in fact, it was volleyball how I met her
Right.
on deployment. She's in the Texas National Guard, and so they were in Africa as well as part of the security force. But she was there in her capacity as the battalion doctor. And so she saw me, I saw her volleyball coming out the gym. She speaks to me. A sisterhood is born, but
Right.
she calls me a sugar baby. That's
Mm.
her nickname because I love sugar. So this year, in an effort to kind of get back to what I like, people get mad. It's like, that's how I had the conversation with my cousin today. What do you mean you're trying to lose? You're already small. It's not about my size. It's about a certain, I guess, look for me.
Mhm.
And I know okay. And so I'm trying to get back to that. And
Mhm.
so I said, okay, I'm going to cut out candy. Well, I cut out candy and here I still sit. So my mind, though, regardless of whatever my struggles are, I'm gonna hit the gym. So I have a gym. I have an actual gym in my home. I own a gym. I think you and I talked about this before. I just came from Rico. You know, I had my TRX straps in my bag and
Right.
my resistance bands. So my mindset is I'm going to work out. As far as eating through the gym and just over the course of learning more and more about fitness, I'm way more high protein. And so I'm very intentional about trying to get my protein in. High protein, I drink when I can. Like if I'm not traveling, I definitely drink high protein shakes and nuts and things of that nature. And I've tried to, no, I haven't tried to, I should say. I have greatly reduced like my bread intake. So those are my mindsets because I'm gonna tell you one of the things that tug at my heart so bad for our Black community is especially for Black women. We lead so many categories in death,
Right.
right? And so many of them are controllable.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I am very not when I see like obese women in particular, right? I don't want you to desire to look like some Hollywood front page, airbrushed. I want you to want to be healthy so you can be here like my grandmother till 99.
Right.
So my mindset is, I hope to live. So she's not just 99, like bedridden 99. She's 99 talking about, are we just gonna sit here all day?
Okay.
That's who I want to
And
be.
she
I
still
want to
eats
be
bread with
that chick
every meal?
every
How'd that
yeah,
make
it's
you
really
feel?
not fair. Yeah, I feel like it's very unfair. It's very unfair. But I will say though, I want to use her though as an illustration to further answer your question about my mindset. At 99 though, she does still because of her dietary. She has stage 4 kidney disease. Now, fortunately, the grace of God, she does not have to do dialysis. But we do still have to modify because of her sweets, for sure,
Mm.
right? And she was that grandmother, so, like, she had, like, world famous sweet tea, like, 5-pound bag of sugar
Oh,
in the sweet
Lord.
tea. Yeah,
Heart attack sweet
mm,
tea, diabetes sweet
absolutely,
tea.
exactly.
Right.
No, exactly. Everybody, on my mom's side has high blood pressure. All
Mm.
of them. I don't. She has it, my mama has it, all her other kids have it. Her and my mom have congestive heart failure. Those, 2 of her kids suffer from gout. These are things that are related to diet and
Absolutely.
exercise, right? And so I don't want any of that. I don't see a doctor. I now, I had to feel I'm going for something tomorrow or Wednesday. And she said, who's your primary care physician? We need a referral. I said, I don't have a primary physician. She said, well, we need a referral. I said, well, I guess I'm not going to be able to come to your office because I don't have a primary. I don't go to the doctor. I don't say that because I know we have go see the doctor. Go, but when you are of a certain wellness, what are you going to the doctor for? I rarely get sick. If I get sick, it's a cold. That's take some Mucinex, get you some extra cold, calm, some Mucinex, 3, 4 days, I'm done. But I'm sick. I
Mhm.
get my annual exam as a female. I get all my labs run, and I take a multivitamin and vitamin C. Okay? And so that's my mindset of wellness that I want to stay there.
Got it.
I literally have the mindset, I kid you not. So the double dutching, love it, right? So the group that where we met,
Mhm.
I think it was that night, 77 out there double dutching. I want to be her. I
Yes,
want to be
yes.
77, 80 years old, double dutching, going to the gym. One of our clients, in fact, one of our oldest client at our gym is like 72. And she comes and her mobility that has increased. She loves coming because we're able to we were able to basically reestablish her mobility,
Mm.
keep her moving. So
Mhm.
that's I want to be years old at the gym. And
Absolutely.
I don't want heart disease. I don't want that. I don't want any of that. I
Right.
don't want any chronic disease that is truly controllable by diet.
Mhm. Yeah, I had
That's my
another woman on here a couple of weeks ago. She and I actually went to college together, and she is a cardiac nurse, and she was talking about that. A lot of us are walking around like just one heart attack away from being in the
What the
grave type thing, people just but a lot of it, diabetes. I say all the time, I didn't learn that type 2 diabetes was related to the food you eat until I went to have my first nutrition class. And then when I found that out, I'm like, okay, well, this is something that we could do something about. And that was what motivated me, part of my motivation for starting my fitness company, because I had so many people in my family that were dealing with diabetes. And I'm like, okay, we could do something about this. We could change our traditions. Thanksgiving just passed and people still eating the same thing. And it's like, oh, it's just this one day, or oh, and it's like, no, just change the tradition. When I was back at home in Los Angeles, when I had Thanksgiving or celebrated the holiday, so to speak, I would have either Mexican food or some kind of vegan food or something, but I just wouldn't have that traditional food. And I've been away from that kind of food for a long time. But yeah, it's very unfortunate. But a lot of times it's out of ignorance as well. People just
it is.
don't know. I have a friend just this a couple of days ago saying, you know what? I finally heard about something with chicken and, the your joints and the inflammation and all of this. And it's different for everybody, but he was like, after all this time, he finally experienced it for himself, where he's like, wow, this is really bothering my joints. I got to cut this out. So sometimes it takes that. It takes, having your own experience. But then it's just that that's why they say that diabetes runs in the family. It's because it's more of the fact that you are just continuing the tradition that happened in your family. It has nothing to do with genetics.
Instead
Yeah.
of what you said, which is change the tradition.
Right.
So there's several traditions now, and I will be honest. The 2 days, two days out of the year, and I prefer to cook. I'm not a eater outer.
Mhm.
That's another thing that kind of says my family will tell you if you give me the choice, I'm gonna take in the house. Now that doesn't mean that I love to cook. I can cook. I cook very well. If I got to the point where why am I paying you $50 for something I literally can cook at home and I get control what's in it? I'm gonna like it. I know I'm gonna like it.
Right,
I'm
right,
not
right.
what really, really burns me up is to pay you $50, $60 and I didn't like it. So I
Yeah.
just prefer Imma just cut that out and, go ahead and eat from and cook for myself. But 2 days a year when I do go, I guess, traditional soul food, it's Easter and Thanksgiving, but we brought a nutritionist in. At our gym, we have every month we have a free workshop, and we know, right, Thanksgiving, we know people. So we brought back our nutritionist to give them tips on how to enjoy that food
Mhm.
and how to do it in a way that doesn't like just send your body all over the place. And so
Right.
it's strategy but I'm gonna tell you one of the things that she said at the first workshop she did for us, at some point, you do have to get to the place where you're not eating just for pleasure. From a
Yeah.
at some
Yeah.
point in life, you have to get where you're just and that's where I have gotten, right? Because I love an iced honey bun. I love Krispy Kreme donuts. Give me a Hostess with the tasty cake honey bun with the icing. That's me all day.
That is too funny.
But but I prefer my health over the honey bun. That's just so I'm just like, as much as I would love it, the law and so across the board though, from a maturity standpoint, to be honest with you, life has taught me that the short-term gratification is not worth my long-term consequences.
Yes.
That's across the board. And
Yeah.
so from a maturity standpoint, I'm able to evaluate different situations the same way across the board.
Okay. Okay. So let's move into we talked about your mindset. What does your self-care do you have a self-care routine?
Absolutely. But they're not disconnected. They're connected, right? So my mental health and my mindset is absolutely connected. So the title of my book is Meaningful Messages of Transformation
Okay.
from the Trenches. The trenches is the military reference. There's a lot of military reference in the book because as you correctly stated during the intro, it's based on my life experiences, but most of it's based on my life experiences from a period of time and I when I was deployed and at the time I was married. And so how God brought me through those challenges, right? Well, the key though is transformation.
Mhm.
So you're transformed by renewing your mind.
Absolutely.
If you don't change your mindset, you're not gonna people say, "Oh, you're so disciplined." It is, but it's a certain mindset that kind of at all costs mindset
Mhm.
about me, wholeness. So when you say whether we're talking about fitness, my mindset and my self-care,
Mhm.
they're all related. I
Mhm.
need for my mind to be well. So when I have had major life challenges, I've gone to therapy.
Okay.
That's part of my self-care, to go to
Absolutely.
therapy.
I love it.
I self-care, have daily devotional time, one on time, me and my creator, me and God. I need one-on-one time. I need to tell him thank you, and I need him to give me direction and guidance, and I need him to help control my mouth. And I need I'm just so that's
Right.
part of my self-care. What do you want me to do?
Yeah.
What do I need to do? How do I need to do it? What this person that you just brought in my life, you just connected with me with this flow. What am I supposed to be doing with her? That's part of my self-care. Part of my self-care, um, I get massages. Try to get one at least monthly. That's part of my self-care.
Yeah.
Taking care of my nails and my hair and my brows and all of that self-care, making sure that I'm working out. Because so what I don't like, what I don't want to say it that way because I don't want to sound judgmental. I just want to help people change their mind.
Mhm.
And I told you my passion is Black women, the gym, especially. That costs too much, or I don't have time. As just a culture, the Black women, we carry the load and the weight of the world. We
Mhm.
take care of everybody, and then we put ourselves at the bottom, and then you're the one laying up in the hospital.
Right.
Well, my philosophy is that prevention is always cheaper and better
Absolutely.
than intervention, right? So you can spend $200 on your hair and some bundles, or you can get a gym membership, or
Hmm.
you can figure out how to do
What they
both
do
and save
nowadays.
exactly. Or you can spend thousands of dollars on the back end going to the doctor, paying for
Right.
medicine and needing
Right.
surgery.
Right.
Now, here's the thing about prevention. I get to control when I go to the gym, right? So I schedule. I have time. When I get up in the morning, my self-care, literally brush my teeth, wash my face, put on whatever workout clothes I'm going to have. I have my devotional time. I leave devotion, I work out, I get done with working out, and then I go on with my day. That's my daily routine. Okay. Now, that's because I literally have a schedule. I
Mhm.
wish I had it in here with me, Flo. I'm so old school. I still write mine out in a
Girl,
planner.
I got mine right here. Mhm.
Look, I wish I had it here with me. Literally write it
Right.
out. I had this on here at 12 o'clock today,
Right.
right? Okay. So here's the thing about intervention. It's like your car.
Mhm.
Okay. As long you get to schedule your oil change.
Right.
But if you don't get it, your car gonna break down when it feel like it. And it's not gonna be at a convenient time. And when it breaks down, I guarantee you that the $40 oil change that you didn't want to spend is gonna cost you 10 times that much when you got to get the tow truck to come pick the car up. It's gonna
Right.
happen at a time that's not convenient. You might have to take off work. You have to spend some money that you didn't set aside and you did not have
Right.
to get a car fixed. And then what are you gonna do while your car is in the shop? The same thing is with your body. You can take care of your body every day along the way, make the sacrifices to go ahead and pay for that gym membership. Make the time sacrifice to spend 3 hours a week, 3 hours a week to take care of your body. All it is, this is what I tell my clients and our prospective clients when people trying to evaluate whether they're going to join the gym.
Mhm.
I tell them it's a replacement plan because I guarantee you there are things that you spend money on that's not going to prolong your life. Whether it's you eat out for work every day, you eat out for dinner, you spend $300 for your hair, you spend $100 for your nails, and all of it's costing more time and money. Or let's check this out: you're spending 3 hours a day collectively on social media.
Hmm.
I'm just saying, take 30 minutes out of that day and go work out.
Yeah.
And a workout that you like, not a workout that I like. Maybe
Right.
you don't like what I
Right.
like, but 30 minutes for yourself to take care of yourself, to keep yourself out of a hospital later.
Right.
It's a replacement plan.
Absolutely.
And you get
Absolutely.
to schedule it, right? You get to schedule that you're going to go walk for 30 minutes at 5 o'clock this evening. But if your body breaks down because you haven't taken care of it, it's not going to do it based on your convenience or
Right.
your comfort.
Right. Right. Right.
It's going to be inconvenient and uncomfortable.
And expensive.
And expensive. It's going to be far more expensive than the maintenance plan
Yeah.
of you paying for road coaching or playing for fitness, whatever it is, do something that's enjoyable. I understand everybody doesn't like to work out. I really do. One of our clients, this guy is so hilarious. He is so funny. He's like, I hate working out. But you know what I love about him? And I told him this. He shows up for every last one of his sessions.
Awesome.
And we just had a challenge. And the irony is that he's a big guy. The irony of it is, so we do challenges at the gym to keep people motivated, right? People are naturally competitive. So this last challenge was, we had 3 different categories. We had a 6-week time frame. Who could lose the most body fat, the most body fat percentage, no, the most weight, the most body fat percentage, or increasing the most muscle mass. Right. So this person who hates to work out, he told me of that on the first day when I called him to say, come on in here. He won. He had the most weight loss. He lost 7 pounds in 6 weeks. I know people like, what? That's all? Actually, people, that's healthy weight loss.
Right.
By adjusting his diet and adding activity. And he had the most body fat percentage. Now, we didn't let you win in 2 categories, so somebody else won in the body fat.
Okay.
But yeah, so this person who hates to work out, he comes in there, his scheduled sessions, and does it and leaves. Now, he may complain the whole time, but the point and the moral of it is, I think that if you are real about life, and if you have a mature understanding of life, in order to enjoy, to me, life till its fullest, it necessarily involves some aspect of something you don't like. Your
True.
job, right? Do you love everything about your job? I don't know. I mean, I love being a judge, but there are some aspects that, like, dang, I wish I didn't have to do. That's life, right? That
right.
God designed it perfectly so that we appreciate the things that we love more. We got to do some of the things we don't enjoy, some of the things that are inconvenient or uncomfortable. So you just do it. Like Nike, you just do it.
Just do it. Just do it.
You just do it.
So I want you to talk a little bit more about your devotional and how that is. It available? Is that something that people can purchase somewhere? And what exactly is the
Absolutely.
yeah.
Okay. So it's a 365-day devotional. It was not something that I ever set out to do. In fact, God had to push me to it. What happened was, so my first deployment was what we call an involuntary. I didn't volunteer to go. I had 62 days notice. Hey, you're going to Africa for a year. Roger that. So at that time, as I stated earlier, I was married, and it was not a good marriage. And so it was a very difficult time. It was a very difficult time. And so my friend, who knew what I was going through, she said, journal. I had never journaled before. And so I did. When I went on deployment, I journaled every day. And it really got me through. My relationship with God definitely grew when I came. So fast forward a year later, I came back. And one of the things that I'd done, I started doing the Holy Bible app, and I wanted to just increase the number of times that I just at least connected with God on an intentional level. So the Holy Bible app is like, I would go in there and it's like a 5-minute devotional. And so, okay, so then I would come back. So fast forward, I'm back now, and I would read a devotional, and then I would think God would send me to a journal. I have a journal, one of my journal entries, and I would take whatever concept from that day's devotional in the Holy Bible app, and I would write a devotional based on something I had written. So I started sending that out. At first, it was just my kids and my nieces and nephews and my siblings, and then the list started growing. So fast forward, I'm doing this for months now, and the list is growing. And first instance, I send it, and someone says, Monique, this was fantastic. Where'd you get this from? So that they could, I guess, connect with, and have it forwarded. I said, I wrote it. My God, you need to put this in a book. I'm like, I'm not writing a book. Then it happened the second time. Totally different person, totally different devotional, different day. Find out I wrote the devotional that I forwarded. Oh my God, Monique, these are so good. You need to put them in a book. I'm like, I'm not writing a book. Okay, so now on the third time, Flo, I looked up and I said, okay, I get it. Write a book. Well, that same chosen sister that I met in Africa, probably the same weekend of when I finally surrendered and said, okay, God, I'll write a book. We're in my kitchen. I'm having a conversation with her. She too is a soror. And I said, God has told me that I need to put these devotionals in the book. And she said, oh, great. I'll hook you up with one of our sorors who's a publisher.
We have to say the sorority, Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated,
Absolutely. So
as if it's not
literally it
obvious,
happened
but
like this
anyway.
in the it's so obvious, right? And so literally she does a connecting email that probably day, that night. And within a week, I met with the soror virtually. She told me, how she sets it up. I sent her my money in 20, let's see, last year was 2024. In 2022, November 2022, I sent my first payment to her and the journey began. And so
Wow.
then after I agreed to write the book, agreed with God,
Yeah.
right? Then I negotiated with him the format because I still wasn't really bought into this idea of me writing a book because I'm so busy. I was like, when am I going to write a book? But at the same time, in my thinking, I was not thinking that it was going to take as much as it ended up taking because I
Mm,
had already been writing the devotionals for almost
right.
a year by this
Right.
time. So my negotiation with him was, well, can it be like a monthly, like a 30-day devotional?
Mm-hmm.
Can it be monthly where, you just, something for a month? Or does it have to be 365 days? And so then I tried to lure my best friend into it. I sent her I said, I need your input. So I think I had sent her a couple of entries and she said, sorry, sis, it's going to have to be 365. I said, oh, okay.
Wow.
So the format of the book, I am a very practical person. So it's very important to understand that this is not your typical devotional.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that, it is not a make you feel good devotional, like a daily affirmation type devotional. It's not that.
Okay.
It is for those who grew up in church or may be in church, all the Christian cliches you can think about, we're gonna put that into practice. We're gonna take these biblical principles, these scriptures that are really a stalemate, particularly in the Black church, and we're gonna talk about applying them to your everyday life. And I'm gonna share my junk, my all the things. I'm going to share all that and I'm going to expose and be vulnerable and tell you my struggles and going through my divorce twice and the things that God revealed to me about me and how he did that. And we're going to spend 3 weeks talking about forgiveness. And then we're going to
Wow.
talk about exactly. So what I'm gonna have you do is I'm gonna tell you what I went through. I'm gonna use this scripture to support it. And then at the end of every Monday through Saturday is something for you to do. I'm gonna need for you to identify that person that you're tired of. That was last week. I need you to identify all the people that you say you're tired of. I need for you to then look at yourself. So it's every day. So Sundays set the theme for the week.
Mm-hmm.
This week is this week we're on week 48 of this year and it's on wisdom. Yesterday's devotion was one of my very, very favorite. And I'll be honest with you, 365, I don't remember a lot of them. I have a Sunday group. We meet to
Mm.
discuss last week's devotionals. We
Okay.
meet every Sunday, right? And so as I'm going through my book, not like I wrote it, I'm going through it, I'm doing every day, just like any other reader.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wow, God, you wrote that? But then also at a different season of my life, these action, because faith is action.
Right.
And so this is forcing you to action. And like I said, we spent 3 weeks of the book. I didn't realize this when I wrote it. 3 weeks of the book is on forgiveness.
Mm.
And what was so great about God and those in there were 3 people in our discussion group who had specific people that they needed to forgive.
Mm-hmm.
And they were the questions and the charges at the end of each devotion were very difficult. But that's the thing. We can't keep walking around on Sundays, you jumping, shouting, praising God, but then on Monday you can't talk to your sister or your cousin or
Right.
I'm not talking to her no more, or you nasty to your coworker. Like, no, I believe that the abundant life is tied to you fulfilling what God has actually asked us to do. What I believe is that God's requirements of us are not conditional, but his promises are. You being able to reap what he designed for us in abundant life requires you to fulfill being kind, being compassionate, putting others before yourself. But what does that mean practically? You
Right,
read it, you
right,
see it,
right.
but what does that mean for flow in your practical everyday life? And it's not going to, the answer to that, and that's why the book is designed the way it is for you to stop and answer the question and really reflect and think on it. And then write it down. Next year, if you do the same devotion, it should have a different answer.
Yeah,
So that's the design of the
right.
book. On Sundays, there's nothing for you to do. It sets the stage. Yesterday was lifetime warranty. But I was like, oh God, you did it. It's one of my favorite. And it's funny we were talking about cars earlier because the premise of the devotional explains how very much like life, what we do, we buy items, they have manufacturer warranties, right? We very rarely read the instructions to it. We use it according to what makes sense to us. How many people, you got the blender, you didn't read no directions. You like, this is on, it's got these functions, and you didn't register the product.
Right.
We live life the same way, right? We have a manufacturer, he gave us a manual. We're gonna go through it by the way that kind of feels good, is makes sense. But then when it breaks down, you can't use the warranty because you never read it. God gave us a lifetime warranty that if you do these things, I promise you that when life begins to break down, you'll be able to call me in on that warranty. I will repair or replace whatever was broken,
Mhm.
just like another warranty. But how many of us can attest, and me included, this is how God gave it to me. How many of us can attest to the fact that you bought an item, a big item? I never registered my washing machine with Whirlpool. But then when it breaks down, now I'm mad because now I need a repair person. But if I had registered the warranty, it would have
Right.
been covered. Same thing in life. Same thing. And so that's a gift that God gave me. And I use everyday practical things like that. The car analogy that
I
I gave you
always use
to
the
tie
car
it
with fitness. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
to you. I tie that to scripture and to make it plain for people.
Mhm.
And I know that's a gift to get me to relate to you, to take it beyond this spiritual, kind of overarching principle to saying, this is what this means practically for you. And what it means for you doesn't mean for me. But I want you to stop and think about it because to get to a higher place just in life, a place where I live, that regardless of the fact that I may not have as many clients as I want, I may not have as much as money as I want. I'm a civil servant. So I just went through the same 6 weeks of government shutdown and as the next person, but every day I still have joy. I'm not just saying that as some spiritual plug. I'm saying that literally today, Flo, on my way to my appointment, I turned down my music and I had a conversation with God where, like, you are amazing, God, because no matter what is going on in my life, I have a joy I've never experienced before. And it is so wonderful. It does
Awesome.
not mean that I don't go through because I am. I need to find a roofer right now because my roof is leaking. But it doesn't take me out. It doesn't take the
Right.
smile off my face
Right.
because I have a lifetime warranty that says if I do what I'm supposed to do, and I don't always do what I'm supposed to do, please don't take that. I don't.
Right.
I don't, and I know it, but it is a continual. I believe that transformation should be perpetual because the Bible says that we'll never be perfect till we see His face. So you should always be trying to get better and do better, but not according to anybody. I told you, people ask me all the time, "Do you compete against who?" Because I'm not going to use man standard. You're not gonna get to set up a standard. God gave me a standard, so the only thing I'm trying to do is beat yesterday for me.
Right. Right. Right.
And so the book is available on Amazon
Okay.
and it is a do. People that have supported me that know me, oh, I'm gonna get your book and read it. It's not a read.
Mm,
It's a do. It is a book of doing. It is for you to actively do something Monday through Friday.
awesome.
Sunday sets the stage. I assume that you're going to worship somewhere, going to be inundated. It sets the stage for what we're going to talk about and what we're going to work on for that week. But then Monday through Saturday, at the end of every devotional, there is a charge, there's a question, there's a series of questions for you to ponder, to think about, to write down and record. Why? So you can keep track of your spiritual walk. I remember when I I look back and I'm like, man, I remember some of the things that I share in the book that I really didn't want to.
Mm,
When God told me, I said, God, I literally these are conversations. I'm being honest with you. Why do I have to tell everybody my business? I'm a very private person, right? And I'm very, senior in the military and all these things. And I was
yeah.
like, and what he said was very clearly, he said, but this is not about you.
Mm,
And so my disclosure, I just feel my daughter gave the book to two of her teammates, and they told me they said, I just feel so connected to you. Like I feel like I know you.
Mm.
That realness, that you have a real person who's telling you that she struggled with sexual impurity for most of her life. That's a relatable thing, to be honest about that, and how God delivered me from that by changing my mindset.
Right, right,
How
right.
I did, the actual struggles, and disclosing and being open and honest about the struggles in my marriages and understanding what role I played in it. I
Mhm.
don't care what you think of them. At the end of the day, I gave them access to me.
Right.
So I have to own that. So that's basically what the book is.
Okay. Awesome. Well, you know what? With that said, we're going to move into our final segment, which is passing the torch. And you've already given us a lot to think about, a lot about our mindset, wellness, just everything. What would you say to, I already know that you said your family wasn't into sports growing up and everything, but what would you say to a younger person or the younger generation now about the importance of being fit, being healthy, staying active, and how it's going to affect them long term?
Nothing remains constant except God.
Mm,
Everything changes. Your body, I don't care how fit that you are, your body is going to change. So, to assist it with changing in a way that it will maintain, it's important to have a steady lifestyle of movement. There's so much that goes into movement that we take for granted. Your core, right? Being able to be flexible, being able to jump. Those are things that you take for granted as a kid.
mhm.
But if you don't keep with that, your body absolutely will stop doing that. And it
Absolutely.
will be hard to do. So then if you do it and then you stop doing it, trust me, I'm telling you, the vast majority of our clients are over 40. This is by design. This is the design of our gym. Our clients are most over, they've either never worked out or it's been 10 or more years since they've worked out. It's like they've never worked out before
Yeah.
because their body isn't used to it. Right. And so being able to walk up a flight of stairs without huffing and puffing,
Mm,
that's a real thing. And so the way I can go up a flight of stairs, now it's not my preference, but if I have to, I can do it. It's not
mhm.
really a challenge for me. That's the reason why I can do it at 50. I can lift more than most 50-year-old men. I only say but that's not because I just woke up yesterday. That's
Right,
because
right,
I
right.
maintained a lifestyle of fitness. When I was at the US Attorney's office in Norfolk, me and one of my other chosen sisters, this is a mindset, right?
Mhm.
Because of our work schedule. We used to close my office door and work out in my office at the US Attorney's office for 30 minutes.
Wow.
Because that was the type of job that I had.
Mm,
I didn't have the time to go to a gym and things of that nature and all those things, but I knew I needed to get in at least 30 minutes. She and I would close the door and do Shanti.
all right.
And so, to a younger generation, understand that it started as a kid. I maintained it and it has served me well at 50. People look at me at 50 like, oh my God. But it's not because I started at 49. Now, if you haven't and you need to start at 49, I would encourage you to do so. But her question to me was about the young people. If you start now, it'll be it will be a way of life.
Mhm.
So once you make it a way of life, it's not a chore.
Right,
It's not a chore for me to work out because I made it a part of my life. Everything that I've done along the way, fitness has always been some part of my daily routine. It's probably increased, to be honest with you, as I've gotten older. I used to get away with like 4 to 5 days, but if I miss a day, if I get down to five now, I'm like, oh, wait a minute now. Sometimes life happens and
yeah.
and I can't get in but 5, but that's rare. It's very rare that I don't find like I did this morning. I knew I had a back-to-back hectic day. I got up and made sure I did a high cardio 20 minutes. If that's all that I can get in today, at least I got it in 20 minutes.
Right,
I did that for my body,
right,
right? And so my word to a young person is start it and keep it going. And it doesn't have to be a lot.
right.
Tell you what we tell our consistency is really the most
Absolutely.
important thing.
Yeah.
That's really the most important thing. Just be consistent.
Right. And so so that's talking to the younger generation, and you said a little bit about someone that does maybe starting at 49 or even older. What would you say to
Mhm.
to an older woman that feels like, "Oh, it's too late. I'm too old." Maybe she's in her 60s, 70s and you're like, "Oh, okay." What would you say to to a woman in that category?
I would say that wherever you are, there's still an opportunity for you to get better. To get better. I already shared that our oldest client is over 70 years old and she comes every session. She's going to have knee replacement surgery actually on Wednesday. She was so heartbroken because that was going to mean that means that she won't be able to come to the gym for a few weeks, but once she's released, we're going to restart with her upper body
Right, right, right.
until she gets through physical therapy. But she came to us unable to get on the floor.
Mm,
She was at the gym. Today is Monday. She was at the gym Tuesday. I was in there with her. I said, Miss Sheila, you look good. In there doing her core exercises with the cable machine at
okay.
72 years old. This is someone who 6 months ago could not get on the floor. So wherever you are,
Absolutely. And you
wherever
know
you
what I'm
are,
gonna point
at
out
whatever
too?
age you are,
Right. When older people have to have surgeries, when you have lean muscle, it actually helps with the recovery
helps.
too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's good.
100%, which is another point that we shared with her. She was very disappointed, but we explained that very thing to her, that because she had been coming in to work out and she's improved her body, it's going to help her heal quicker. That is a scientific biological fact. And
Absolutely.
so you can get healthier today. You can get off medicine. It's not going to happen today, but if you start today, again, the chronic diseases. There's another alloy client at another gym. In her first year, she lost 30 pounds and she had been on like 6 medications.
Mm,
And she said, my goal is to get completely off, but she had gotten off of like 4 of them. You can start today.
absolutely.
Yeah, you can start a new legacy. This goes back to a point that you and I made earlier about traditions. You can start
Yes,
a new tradition.
absolutely.
You can start a new
Absolutely.
tradition today. But something else I said, you just got to do it. Stop thinking about it and just do it.
Just
You
do
are
it.
worth it. You are worth it. And I just have a special word to Black women because we pour so much into our kids and grandkids and husbands and daughters. And I know I run all over the country for my daughter, literally. The girl has 20, 25 conference games and I go to 23, no matter where they're played, right?
Okay.
The least I can do is for me.
Right.
I'm doing that for her to support her. But what about me? And what I explain is to Black women, you do know as much as your kids love you, they're gonna leave you.
Right.
That part. They're gonna leave you. I want my kids to leave me.
Right, right,
I
right.
want to visit them. I want to visit
Right.
them. But they're supposed to go off and get married and have their own families. The design is so are you going to be left there by yourself, unhealthy, sick, ill? Let me tell you the beauty of being able to get out of bed and it without aches and pains. Now, once you hit over 40, you're going to have them. Listen,
Right, right.
listen, you're going to have some, but right? For no reason. Like, what was
Right.
that? No. But again, tell people we are not at our gym, we are not there to build bodybuilders. I just want you to be able to pick up your 50-pound bag of luggage on your vacation.
Right.
And I want you to be able to get on the plane and not need two seats. And I want you to be able to go, go to the resort and be able to walk around and your knees not hurt. And
Right.
I can't go because yeah, all of those things are very real.
Mm-hmm.
My ankles hurt because I can't walk a mile. Like that's what we want you to be able to do. And if you
Absolutely.
can't do those things, you got to start and be consistent. The rest of it your body will appreciate, I promise you.
Absolutely. Consistency. What do they say? Consistency is the I forgot it. But consistency. Yes, consistency.
Yes,
Well, you know what? I
absolutely.
thank you so much, Miss Monique, for your time. Thank you for sharing your story, your wisdom, encouragement, inspiration, all of that with my audience. And you know what? We're going to end this segment of the podcast and then we're going to go into the afterflow. You know how I know you
All
know how they
right.
say in the church you want the overflow. Well, we have the
Yes,
afterflow with the Patreon
afterflow.
community. So I'm going to ask you a little bit more about the Alloy Gym. But
Okay.
where can people find you on social media if they want to follow you?
So for my book, Monique Writings on Facebook and Instagram, for the gym, Alloy Mansfield on Instagram and Facebook.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much again. And until next time, this is Coach Flo signing off. Remember to find your zone and elevate your flow. Peace.